first question to all of you is, social media marketing or ads whatsoever is expensive. So let me share my thoughts, all right, on what has been happening. So how many of you are iPhone users here? I'm sure a great number, right? It's a very prominent brand, and I think it's very famous, for rightfully for doing a fantastic work with their branding and marketing. And if you are already using it, or even if you don't know, there is a big update, in iOS 14. Yeah. So to the users, it's just normal updates, right, to a phone. But for the marketers, right, this iOS 14 update has created a great impact on the marketing ecosystem. Probably even more than a lot of marketers realize themselves, right? So what has happened? If you are, earlier, I think late last year, so Apple has actually launched an update, a privacy update. Basically, they are just saying that, hey, I don't want the apps to track you so well. I'm going to protect the consumers, right? The users. So what they did was that to spring out this question. So if you actually install your app, you are going to see a screen in the middle. You are going to see that, pop out that says, you ask the Facebook to ask app not to track. And even in the location wise, they have also implemented ways to obfuscate, your location, because there are a lot of apps, right, that actually relies on your location data. They track your location, they track what you do. And this is really for marketers, right, like me and my team, right, it's really a curveball. It's really a curveball. So, and what does this mean? What essentially, in this nutshell, what Apple has done is this. It has greatly reduced the quality of data being sent to Facebook and as well to Google as well. So across all the apps itself. So essentially, all these apps, right, they rely on a lot of data being sent to their central server, user data. So what happens is that, as you can tell, with Apple saying, hey, the gate, I want to lock it down, I want to cut it, I want to control the flow of information out of my OS. So what this does is has caused the platforms to report inaccurate results and hamper the efficiency of the advertising. So just as a real example, this is an example of a client, a real client. This is July data, so it's super recent, right? As you can tell, July 2021. So if you look at the top part, you actually see the arrows going up. This is actually the cost per lead. It's been going up ever since February. So February is the time where the update was actually rolled out. Yeah. And then you see the number of leads that are being generated. These are on Facebook leads. You see a decline. Yeah, so I actually draw an arrow just to highlight it. And this is where the impact actually started. So this is an example. This is quite representative because this particular client runs almost 30 Facebook campaigns at any one time. So I have enough. So it's not just a one campaign thing. Yeah, it's not a one campaign kind of activity. So let me show you another one. Right, another one has, this is also another client. So if you look at it, if you look at the overall trend, the same thing over at January and February, time where the update really hit us earnestly. Of course, the update started earlier. So and you realize that in this case, the number of leads actually increased. And the cost per lead actually reduced. So what is the point I'm trying to make? Yeah, there is you need to be able to know what to do. Yeah, there is always a way. Yeah, okay. And not only that, just to add some oil to the fire. If you are aware of, if you own a Facebook page or you have brands who are owners of Facebook pages, you realize by now that organic reach has been reducing across social media. That means if you post out something, only a small percentage of your followers or fans actually see them. Yeah, this is actually, this is not really Facebook fault or Instagram fault or LinkedIn's fault. The reality is that there are a lot more content coming up. And because the platforms want the users to have a great user experience, they have to limit the number of posts from brands that you see. Because face it, all of us, we go into social media to what? To socialize with friends, right? Not to see ads, not to see posts from brands. That is not really why we go to social media channels. And they know this because user retention and engagement is key on their mind. So this is what happened. So I've shared about the challenges, so what can you do about it? What can you do about it? What can we do about it? I sprinkled this talk with a few golden nuggets. So if you see a golden nugget, you see the golden nugget up there, right? Yeah. So then it's something that important point I want to make. So behind every perceived challenge, yeah, remember perceived challenge lies a great opportunity. Okay, if you stay calm and start digging, yeah, so you need to start digging in deeper and to see how to do. So let me share the three some thoughts on how to overcome this, yeah, in the social media marketing. But before that, let me frame, okay, our discussion based on three things you must understand, okay, in the world of today. One is to consider that sometimes we lose sight, we lose track of the idea that we're actually marketing to real people. So we tend to think that everything is on digital. So sometimes we just try to write as if it's a very dry thing. So we need to understand that actually the people reading it are just like you and me, and we have our fears and desires, and they are really real, Although we show it, we are very quiet, but we are real. And number two, if you see the middle, okay, there is the central image. There is a complex machinery at the back end operating any social media like Facebook, Instagram. Okay, and now lately, over the last 2-3 years, there's a lot. I think you have heard by now that AI, machine learning is big, right? So all these big players, be it Google or Facebook, all the social media, even TikTok, the newer ones, right, have all implemented some kind of machine learning and AI. That's how the machine works. There's no choice. There's just so much things that they have to process. And thirdly, you have to understand that in marketing, it is a competition, yeah? So it's an auction behind all the content. There's an auction system running. And you need to think like a performance athlete in marketing. So you have to look at the competitors and understand that your content or ad is being pitched to Facebook or some other platform to choose who to show. So there is these three things that you need to be aware of as we talk about what we can do. So what's the first one? First one here. So my first tip for you, all of you, is to do this to make sure that you differentiate your brand or offer. So with so many brands shouting for attention, right? You need to storytell something that is real about your brand. So you need to grow some likability, and you need to connect with your audience a lot more deeper. Because there's just too many shouting around. A lot of advertising just say, oh, come and buy, so come and do this. Oh, this is what I have, come and do it immediately. Yeah, so sometimes we do impulse buy, we do take impulse action, but you don't really get any true engagement. You don't get any true loyalty. You don't get, it's just transactional, right? It's just very transactional. So what can you differentiate? So I give you an example of the differentiation, right? So I think Singapore, we like our bubble tea or our green tea. So if you look at the one that left, LiHo, it's a long time, right? And also Chicha, the one on the right is I think it came in not quite recently. So I give you this example just to show you, even brands, if you're in a very highly competitive space, right, you need to differentiate yourself. And I don't know whether anyone know what is the differentiation for the brand on the right? Any idea? Or I'm mistaken, now if you drink bubble tea, or maybe I'm drinking bubble tea now. So the reality is that the right side itself, Okay, so they use espresso machine, right, to express out the tea. Yeah, and they show the machine very prominently, right? So what they are saying is this: hey, my tea is fresh, my tea is real from tea leaves. You can actually see it. It's not just packaged into like containers and then just dispensed out. So you see, all these things are really important differentiation, and that's also the reason why they are probably they have a price premium. They are actually more expensive than LiHo overall. Yeah. So but they do good business, right? They have quite a loyal following. Yeah. By the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I see someone has raised a hand. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I will just keep it later, unless someone can let me know what is the questions about. Or
Henry, I think we can take the questions later.
all right, sure. Let's take it later, right? Okay, thank you. All right, just feel free to ask, right? All right. Okay. So another golden nugget for all of you: a differentiated offering only works if it means something to your target customer. All right. Just let it sink in a little bit. All right. So you want to be different. You can't be different for different sake. And if you look at how you can be different, let me share a study by McKinsey. So, well, too bad we didn't have Singapore, maybe because we are so small. But I just want to make a point here that in today's context, right, the consumers, right, be it services or products, they already expect value and quality. So it's really expected. So you can't say things like, oh, I provide great value, or I provide value for money, I provide quality. So sometimes it's not enough, although it's still important that you do it. But I want you to take a look at the red bar. It talks about the purpose driven. So there's increasing, especially the younger cohort, younger as the demographics, the buyers get younger, right? Because I'm also getting older, right? So I'm in my 40s. So for the younger ones, they want a brand with purpose, right? With meaning. So if you are marketing to the future generations, this is something you have to think very carefully about and start thinking about your own brand itself when you're marketing online. I'll give you an example. Cloversoft, it's a wet wipes, right? I mean, wet wipes are everywhere. I mean, if you have a baby at home, you will use wet wipes and hand sanitizers. But you know what is the differentiation, right? They need to tell. So what they have done is that they have said that, they use bamboo, more sustainable, more eco-friendly, and they don't use bleaching agent. Right. So I've taken this from their website itself, just to show an example of what it means to differentiate. But if just make me no mistake, if you know this, you remember this story, right? Brand marketing can backfire. Right. So if you, for example, I don't know where you realize this. So this is a seafood restaurant, right, who decided to walk the crabs, right? And they got kind of a backlash, and essentially the owners have to come and apologize. Yeah. So what does this mean? This means that, remember just now what I said, a differentiated offering only works if it means something to your target customer. So quality of tea works because for their target customer, they are looking for people who really value the perceived quality. But in this case, sometimes you need to be careful and say, hey, does it really mean anything to my consumers? Does it mean anything? Or it's just could be too gimmicky. Yeah. So I have another nugget for you. Let this sink in as well. If you can read it, different is not always good. Yeah. But good is always different. So it's important that we continue to change and evolve. But just being different is not always a good thing. Yeah, but if you see a good brand like Apple, or if you see a good brand, any brand that you know of that you think is pretty good, I'm very confident that that you will always be able to identify something good about them. Yeah, so that's something very important because you are the target buyer. So, okay, let me go on to the second one. So that's the first one, all right? The first one is really to look into differentiating your brand. What's the second one? Okay, so if you are doing any content or advertising on Facebook, Instagram, I want you to consider testing story-focused sequence ads, all right? Okay, it's quite a big mouthful, right? All right, or content. So you can replace the word ads for content, test story-focused sequence content. People like stories through the ages. You like stories, I like stories. MediaCorp does stories, it's all about storytelling, right? And if you recall books that you read or shows that you see, they always end with a cliffhanger at the end, right, of an episode. Why do they do that? Because they need you to stay engaged, right? And they always want to give you a surprising ending so that you can wait for the next one that comes. So I feel that, personally, I think that our communication sometimes in social media from the brands tends to be a little bit too dry, too proper, for lack of a better word. Yeah, and sometimes it's good to think about what you can do. So this is an example of what I mean for those who didn't get what I said just now. So storytelling ads, right? Basically, if you look at the top ad itself, this is good, buy now. This is very typical, right? You're going to say, oh, I'm good. These are the good benefits, buy now. So, but for storytelling sequence ads, you'll be showing interest, but then you can still tell them to buy now. And you can share more information, you can buy now, and you can show your proof of your abilities that you are able to help them, and you can still put a buy now. Okay, but you don't have to outrightly just keep on shouting at them. Yeah, so this is what I mean by letting them know. People want to feel empowered to buy, right? They want to feel that, into this context, all the consumers are very smart. So we are living in the world now where consumers are super smart, have tons of research resources. They can Google anything. They can Facebook search everything. Yeah. This is really important. I do have a disclaimer though. For some products and services, right, a single ad can be enough. So it's not always true, but I'm just saying that if you find that you want to, you are having some challenges, it might be good to change a little bit of your way that you are running your ads. This is actually a study from Facebook itself, just showing that it's just to support, what I said, yeah, that if you have a sequence call to action ads, right, the subscription rate, right, are higher. Okay, this is an example from their brand. And then if your conversion lift, that means people who, so if you don't, right, if you just do no sequence, you just keep on telling them, hey, call to action only, your subscription rate could be lower, right? This is an example of a storytelling ad. This is a real life example. So this is not, well, because, you must say, oh, I could say what is good and so this is an example of a storytelling ad for design thinking program. So instead of just saying, oh, my trainers are good, everything is good, come and join. You can just maybe take a look, let people think, help people to think and consider. That means, right, let them make their own conclusions on whether design thinking is useful. Give them examples, tell us a brand story of another brand, and make no mistake, if you look at the one on the left itself, the data is taken from 2018 to 2020. So this ad ran for 2 years. And on a very low monthly budget. So this is the total budget across 2 years. If you look at the results, pretty decent, right? It's never stopped for 2 years. And for those, some of them, they were like, oh, you never changed the ad copy. Yeah, I did not, because it's working so well. It's so consistent in performance. Yeah. So give me an example. This is another example. Unfortunately, I can't share the actual copy itself. But before the storytelling ad we launched, right, this is the results. And I'm talking about exactly same targeting, same, everything the same. All right. So just doing a storytelling, right? You look at the click-through rate, you look at the amount of leads and the cost per result. So of course, not every campaign is going to be like that. But I'm just trying to support and share with you that this is some examples that sometimes you need to evolve the way that we create our ads and what we do for our advertising. All right, so what's next? So what you can do next is to create your organic postings with engagement, not action in mind. So this is related to the ads just now, right? So now I'm just saying that now for organic postings, so you know you post on your Instagram, your TikToks, or whatsoever platforms, right? This is a good example of what I mean, all right? Why do I say this? So this is a screen extract of a series of postings that has been done. So I want you to look at the reach column as well as the engagement column. So if you look at this particular post itself, you see the reach is 483, and then you have only 9 engagement, right? Let me show you another one. Here, you have 1.2K reach, and you have 82 engagements. So which one comes first? So in the content posting or organic post game, right, it's really all about the reach. If you can get more reach, let's say you have 5,000 followers, if you can get more reach, that would be fantastic, right? You'll be reaching more of your audiences. But how do you get more reach? So I don't know whether you can already see the trend, the pattern. The idea is to go for more engagement. So that means that whenever you look at your content, the way that you post, the type of content you want to publish, if you are not putting any ad budget to it, you're just sharing it out, look at whether it is engaging enough. You know, look at whether it's good enough and whether you get better engagement. Because the better, more engaged ads, right, more engaged postings, right, Facebook will give you more reach. So you see, it's as straightforward as that. So what they are trying to do is this. So the golden nugget is this: don't just sell, gel with your audience. Don't just sell, don't just, everything is a call to action, or this, do this, do that. And go deeper. So if you want to do organic content, spend more time to think about the content. Do less, but do higher quality engagement content rather than do a lot. Gone are the days, in the past, right? Maybe in about 4, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe the game was to do a lot of postings. The more I post, I get more and more reach, and I can reach a lot of audiences. And some of them will get shared, right? And some of them can get viral as well. But viral is a little bit overrated nowadays, I feel, yeah, because people are just so busy. Of course, I'm not talking about the typical content creators like 9 Hours Cinematics, where they create entertainment content. Those, they will always have a following because people just love to watch entertainment, right, on social media, funny stuff. Yeah. Okay, number 4, consider if it is necessary to go on every social media platform. So right, every brand, right, all of us, right, all the companies, right, we all have limited resources, right? If you are working, you are doing marketing for your brand, you're going to have limited time and money to market on every platform. So the good news is that actually you don't need to. This study shows that this is a global study, right? So if you are a Facebook user, it's a very high chance that you are also using YouTube and using Instagram. This is the main thing it's trying to make, that a user that uses one platform will likely use other social media platforms as well. So there is no need to go crazy and just, I have to dominate every platform. Okay, you're going to be exhausted, you're going to be exhausted unless you have a lot of resources. Yeah. So what is the implication? So that means that you should choose your platform where you want to play. You want to choose your ideal platform to play. Well, it could be, do you want to choose LinkedIn? Do you want to choose Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok? Depending, So you have to think about where, two considerations, right? Where your ideal audience hang out regularly. That's one. And the second important is where your brand wants to be associated with. Because there's 2, right? You have to balance between the 2. Sometimes your ideal audience is somewhere, but you don't want to be there because of maybe just constraints, or maybe you just don't want to leverage on that platform. It's just not too much of your brain personality. So you choose so that you can optimize budget, resources, and manpower and reduce overlap, you know. Right. And there's another thing that you want to take note of is that you don't need to maintain an organic presence to benefit from paid social posts. So you can run ads, right, without having to grow your following. You know, in fact, because I'm usually running ads, right, as in the agency itself. So I will share that, hey, if you want to test, let's spend some budget and test the platform. Even though for that brand, right, that platform is totally new. They have not used it before. So you can test it. Yeah. And you can feel free to swap between paid platforms as often as you need to. Now it's so easy. Create an ad account, run an ad. Of course, I have to put a caveat that you do need to know how to run the platform well. So for example, right, just doing Facebook boosting, right? Well, it's okay. It's an easy way, but you may not be getting the best effectiveness, although it will be easy for you to do so. Yeah. So my nugget to you is that you discover which one works through research, but you uncover through your testing. So you should be, always be happy to test new things. And you can always discover through research. You can always research things and find, hey, my users like to be on this platform, I go there. But you should uncover it through your own personal experience and testing over time.